My name is Daniel, and I'm the monitoring expert at MSI Kenya Support Project. We recently used outcome harvesting to understand more about the results of a USAID activity in Kenya, and we wanted to share our experience for other practitioners who might be considering it. Outcome harvesting is a qualitative evaluation approach that begins by identifying outcomes and then works backwards to determine the contribution of various actors. Through the outcome harvesting approach, we asked, what changed and when, who benefited from the changes and how, and finally, how did the changes come about? Outcome harvesting is particularly useful for complex programming where the relationship between cause and effect isn't well understood. We started the process with discussions with key stakeholders so we could understand what questions they wanted to answer. The next step was to talk with key contributors to understand what changes they believe happened and how they thought they came about. At the same time, we made sure to ask for information to help us document the changes. From the information we got from the contributors and the documents review, we created a list of possible outcomes that we wanted to explore further. We used the list of possible outcomes and information from the documents review to determine which stakeholders we needed to talk to verify each outcome. Tools were developed to systematically capture the information. When the tools were ready, the team went to the field for interviews. We spoke to people who contributed to the changes, those who benefited from the changes, and those who observed the changes. This was an iterative process and required a few trips to the field. Along the way, we identified new outcomes and new stakeholders we needed to talk to. After data collection, we entered and cleaned the data to ensure that there were no data entry errors. Sometimes we found that it was helpful to make follow-up calls to respondents to fill up any gaps that were noted. The data was coded and analyzed based on the outcomes we were tracking. Different softwares can be used for coding and analysis depending on the volume of data and the technical skills of the team. Like for any other study, we looked up the results of the outcome harvest, including lessons learned. Once the report was finalized, all the findings of this exercise were disseminated. Different dissemination approaches may be used depending on the audience of the information. Outcome harvesting, like any other research method, has some limitations. It is a qualitative method designed to explore a particular activity, so the results are not generalizable. If you are considering using outcome harvesting, keep in mind that the approach is iterative and may require more time than other techniques. You will also need to ensure that you have a team with qualitative data collection and analysis skills. Our team appreciated the outcome harvesting technique because it allowed us to gather rich qualitative information while systematically verifying that outcomes the project team suspected were happening were actually happening. We were able to capture some nuance that hadn't been understood before, and we learned about the contribution of various actors to the results on the ground. If you have a complex project to examine and you have sufficient time and expertise, outcome harvesting may just be the right technique.